the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet, baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Well, greetings out there, all across this great land of ours and around the world. Time once again for the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and doing what we do best, and that is educating, informing, and engaging you, our listening audience, on the politics of religion and the religion of politics. And boy, I think we're going to have a bang-up week. And I hope today's the beginning of, I think, a very exciting week in some respects, a very introspective week in a lot of other ways. And you'll get the gist of what I'm saying as we get through, as we, evolve during the week with the issues that are sitting in front of us right now. You know, when playwright and poet William Congreve penned the words in his play The Mourning Bride, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned," Congreve certainly never envisioned media lapdogs confronted with their biases and roles as political parrots to the establishment elites. We watched last week as the fervor over Trump's attacks on the media escalated to the fair and balanced Fox News personnel, particularly Shepard Smith and Chris Wallace, who channeled the spirit left behind by Megyn Kelly during her time of the month. Shepard Smith's squeamish reaction is understandable given his sexual identity crisis, but Chris Wallace seems especially out of character as he grilled everybody on both sides of the same level of with the same level of intensity, as if to beg them, please tell us we're doing our jobs the right way. It was just a real demonstration of just how weird the media has got. You look at words like collusion and corruption and everything else. No, these people are just weird. They are, they're that peculiar friend that you have that you kind of like just tolerate sometimes, but when you're not around them or you hear them say something, sometimes you just go, where the hell did that thought come from? I've got a few of those kind of friends, and when I'm around. In fact, I talked with one over the weekend, and we had a little bit of a discussion over megachurch pastors. He happens to be a big advocate of people that I just abhor on the religious front, and in particular, I made a mention about my favorite religious punching bag, Joel Osteen, and he said, well, he speaks to some people, and I'm like, yeah, he does, and those people are as stupid as he is. And he goes, well, I have to listen to Joel. Well, enough said, okay? Anyway, glad to have you with us today. Let me get my cohort on here, partner in crime, Joe Hakos. How are you doing today, Joe?
I'm okay. Happy President's Day. Let's see. I'm going to celebrate George's and Abraham's, and let's see. Who else would I? Maybe Jefferson.
Reagan, without a doubt, Reagan.
Even Harry Truman's birthday, but there's quite a few that I'm going to leave off the celebration list for me. Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about this? This is one of these little things that just kind of pop up in my head once in a while, and they irritate the bejeebies out of me. We consolidated Lincoln and Washington's birthday, which used to be celebrated separately.
Yes.
So that we could accommodate Martin Luther King Day. And that just really bugs me. You know, and I'm not trying to downplay any importance that Martin Luther King had with the civil rights movement or anything else. I know he's an icon to a lot of people. But, you know, the fact that we had to consolidate two presidents' birthday into one so that we could fit him in there, because I remember this. I remember when the idea first came out to have Martin Luther King's birthday made a federal holiday, that was the argument. There were too many federal holidays in February. And so they consolidated President's Day, Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, into one day so that they could accommodate the federal holiday for Martin Luther King. And that has always bothered me. And not that I have anything against Martin Luther King. I just think the idea of pandering to a base is just, for any reason whatsoever, is just beyond the pale, in my opinion. And that bothers me, and it will always bother me, because I think that Washington and Lincoln both deserve their own days, okay? And why don't we have a national holiday for John Kennedy's birthday, by the way? There's no national holiday for him, is there?
Not that I can recall, but, you know, maybe...
Why don't we have...
Maybe that's because we've been on a national holiday since the day he was assassinated.
Maybe so. I mean, why don't we celebrate Ronald Reagan's birthday? And, you know, if we're going to pick out presidents, or even Roosevelt's, let's take the liberal side of this thing. Why don't we celebrate Franklin Delano Roosevelt's birthday, you know, as a federal holiday? You know, Americans, liberals should be up on this. You guys really need to get your act together. I mean, we're talking about, we could have an additional, 41, 42 holidays?
Oh, easily, if you want to go with that many. I mean, who are we going to leave off the list?
Well, maybe Franklin Pierce would be my first choice. I would leave him off. Buchanan, the one that died 30 days in, who was that? Was that Harrison or Buchanan? Who was the president that died 30 days after he was nominated? Fillmore. Was it Fillmore?
Oh, I don't remember. It was before I was born.
And was the one that forgot to wear a jacket or didn't want to wear a jacket at an inauguration, came down with pneumonia.
It could have been, you had McKinley, but he was assassinated.
No. This president died of pneumonia. And because one of the things I remember is yesterday, watching the news circuit, I spent the day actually watching the news circuit yesterday. And they were making a big deal about the fact that Donald Trump surpassed the least number of days of any president in office. He said 31 days, and I remember that it might have been Fillmore. I think it might have been President Fillmore.
So all I can say is, eat that, Maxine Waters.
Well, they were talking about the fact that he survived. He was still president after 30 days, which I think they were kind of, I forget who it was that was saying it, and I think it was just kind of making a off-the-cuff joke, you know, trying to make an off-the-cuff joke. But it relates to the fact that one of our presidents, and I'm pretty sure it's Fillmore, died in office 30 days after being elected because he did not wear a coat to the inauguration, and he came down with pneumonia and died. And I don't remember who it was. But other than that, Franklin Pierce would definitely be mine because he's a distant relative to Barbara Bush. Okay.
Oh, there it is again.
Yeah, I am biased in my views, and I've never
comes through again.
I've never shied away from the fact that I am biased in my views. All right, and that would be the thing. Just to think about the fact that had Franklin Pierce not existed in this world, we wouldn't have had Barbara Bush, which means we may not have ever had George W. Bush or Jeb Bush, which means the world would have been a much better place, in my opinion. Well,
I've always said, and I kind of agree with this, stay out of the bushes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, really. Which, by the way, sometime during the show today or tomorrow, I have something I want to bring up about the Bush family. But I'm going to leave it to put it in context with the discussion that's going on in terms of Donald Trump and his ineptness, according to the media elites and the establishment types like McCain and Lindsey Graham, people like that, are trying to paint this picture that Donald Trump is just one brick short of a load. You know, the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top of Trump Tower. And it's just something that I picked up on one of the press releases that we'll be using over the course of this week. And I don't know when I'll mention it, but when I see it, when it does come up, I'll remember it. Something about the Bush family.
I find it kind of funny that you refer to John McCain and Lindsey Graham as two separate people. I think they're one and the same. I think one's the shadow of the other. I think it should be called I don't know, Lindsey McCain maybe, or something like that, because they're both exactly. One wants to be the other. I think, hey, Lindsey wants to be John, except he wasn't willing to actually do the things that McCain did. I mean,
well, we could say that maybe they possess a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality, but it would have to be Mr. Hyde personality. Kind of thing, because neither one of them. But I do agree. They do. That's a good point, Joe. Isn't it kind of synonymous? And whenever you hear John McCain's name, you automatically think of Lindsey Graham. I do, or vice versa.
It's fairly sad. But what's even sadder is the establishment media runs immediately.
Yeah.
If one of those two individuals, or one and the same, if one's on the crapper, the other one's obviously available.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hello, tell us what the opposition of the Republicans thinks right now, please, because you speak for all.
Yeah, you are. Well, but I will say, contrary to people like Mitch McConnell who hide from the media, at least McCain and Graham are out there. But they do remind us constantly that the enemy is among us. Okay.
Yeah, they're inside the wire.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to go to our break here. We've got Jonathan Dunn who's going to check in with us the second hour. He's down at CPAC right now, down in D.C. We'll see what he's got to say. But we've got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. We're going to cover in depth the show, Chris Wallace's Sunday News Show, where he had on Reince Priebus, Rush Limbaugh, and my favorite target, Karl Rove. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Middle America doesn't have an anger problem. It's got an idiot problem. The Conservative Syndicate, doing our part to eradicate the disease of idiocracy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics.
When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers! If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
All right. Let's get into our list of things that we have to do today. We've got several sound clips lined up, and we're going to get more into detail here. As I said, I really want to spend at least the first hour, maybe some of the second, on the rally that took place in Florida, not the rally itself, but Chris Wallace's response to it, along with Donald Trump's press conference last week. And so I want to, as an introduction, to kind of break the ice here and lay the groundwork for where we're going here, let's talk just shortly, spend a little time here talking about Donald Trump's press conference last week. Was towards the beginning of the week. And actually, it was on Valentine's, 2 days after Valentine's Day. That would have been Thursday. Last Thursday. And Shepard Smith over at Fox News. As I mentioned earlier, the two biggies, the two well-known, the two icons over at Fox News have just kind of gone a little bit crazy over Donald Trump's attacks against the media, labeling the fake news or news outlets as fake news outlets, basically. It's no longer about just having fake news. It's being a fake news outlet. And that's what seems to rub them the wrong way. Shepard Smith was particularly incensed, I guess, last week because the fact that Donald Trump has referred to all this news about Russian ties and Michael Flynn making deals and campaign staff contacting Russia during the election cycle. And, of course, that all alludes to the idea that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin somehow conspired to sway all these people to vote for Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. And it's just bombastically stupid. But Shepard Smith in particular, I just want to mention something that his first response about these press conferences. I'll read you an article here. I got this out of Variety, kind of an entertaining way of looking at things. Shepard Smith, the Fox News anchor on Thursday afternoon, seemed to have had enough of Donald Trump's slams at the media as peddlers of fake news, or when it comes to CNN, very fake news. It is crazy what we are watching every day. It's absolutely crazy, Smith said. He keeps repeating ridiculous throwaway lines that are not true at all. Yeah, that sounds kind of like the media. And sort of avoiding this issue of Russia as if we're some kind of fools for asking the question. Now, the reason I brought this up is I want to read this next paragraph. Listen carefully to what Smith says after this. Looked straight into the camera and adds, really, your opposition was hacked and the Russians were responsible for it. Fake news story number one. And your people were on the phone on the same day it was happening. Fake news story number two. And we are fools for asking those questions, probably closest to the truth that you just stated. No, sir, we are not fools for asking those questions, and we demand to know the answer to this question. You owe this to the American people. All right? So the idea is Shepard Smith has adapted or adopted the same storyline as the fake news media outlets, that the Russians were responsible for the election of Donald Trump and that his people were conspiring with the Russians on the same day the election was taking place. Now, to me, that's a new accusation. I haven't heard that one. But the point being is that he has adopted the narrative of the left. And he is upset that Donald Trump has called the media on it and labeled the media as what they are. They are fake news. Now, just in line with that, a writer over at Axios makes the claim or identifies the media as the new oversight committee. Okay, they're acting in the place of Congress by actually holding. Think of it this way: they're kind of trying to hold hearings over the media outlets and trying to question in a less formal setting the actions of the sitting president without any verification or validation. Everything is being based on anonymous sources, alleged accusations, innuendo, speculation, and that has become the premise for news. Therefore, it is fake news. Okay? You got any comments on that, Joe?
I think Shepard Smith is just out there. He is the left. He is upset. In fact, what he still hasn't figured out is he's talking the narrative of the left, but guess what? None of that. Not a lick of evidence to support any of those claims. And even the people in that media outlets that are writing stories about it even say in their stories, there's no evidence to support anything we're about to tell you after I continue to write my dribble. And so, but yet they go on television and complain that the President of the United States is calling them fake news, when actually the President of the United States should be calling them exactly what they are: dishonest news. Right. They are not truthful. Yeah,
absolutely right. It's not. When we get into the Chris Wallace gambit, his little exposés, especially the interview with Vince Priebus, it's like, okay, you what you're doing is you're trying to tell the news outlets, you're trying to tell us, the media, how we're supposed to conduct our operations.
No, you shouldn't have to tell the media, to be honest.
Yeah, Trump has never said you need to do this or you need to do that. What he said is the people expect the truth, and you don't tell them the truth. Therefore, what you are reporting is fake. It's made up. I wish I would find a more appropriate reference or a more appropriate catchword for it. Let's just call it. See, in my mind, when you're feeding misinformation and you're misleading a narrative, you're supporting and you're helping to advance a misleading narrative, as is the case here. To me, it's not fake news. To me, that's propaganda.
Yeah, exactly what it is. That's
so
exactly
when
propaganda.
You're trying to defend,
and so
you're trying to defend against.
They'd be more upset if he spoke more truthfully and said, "You're just a propaganda arm of the Democrat Party." Would that make Shepard Smith feel better about what they're doing?
Yeah, this whole idea that the media thinks that the definition of free press means that they're free to do whatever they wish.
They are, but you can. But when you get called about it, don't get upset if someone catches you in quote unquote the lie, because it is a lie. And all you get out, and as Trump has said before, all you'll get out is a retraction. Oh, well, we made a mistake. Move on. But that doesn't stop them from doing it over and over again, though.
And even when they give retractions, they turn around and they reword it in such a way. Well, yeah, as you just mentioned earlier, Joe, we don't really have any evidence of this, but it's being reported this way. So therefore, since it's being reported this way, we'll just keep on talking, even though we don't have any evidence. And think about, how many times does your head have to spin for you to come up with that kind of logic? This is a free press. And by the way, the First Amendment isn't exclusive to the press. Okay, the First Amendment is inclusive of every single American. And so therefore, if you're going to spiel lies and misinformation and try to advance a narrative that isn't there because you don't happen to like what the person is doing, then we as Americans and Donald Trump as an American have the right to call you on it. And we have a right to call it whatever we wish to call it. Okay? If the press is free, if the First Amendment means we can say whatever we want, then we can call you liars and fake news if we choose to. And if you don't like that, tough. Big deal. But all the Trump is alluding to is if you're going to print these stories, have some validation of what it is you're talking about. Priebus brought that up with Chris Wallace over the weekend. He says, you cover 5 minutes of what Trump is actually doing as president, and then the next 20 hours on what you think he's doing, and you don't have any sources. We know anonymous sources out there, but in this case, in this day and age, anonymous source is a non-existent person. It is a shield that allows the media to continue to say whatever they want to under the protection of the First Amendment. In the book I am writing, and I am writing a book called The Day the Music Died, I call them the constitutional terrorists. That's what the media is. They're constitutional terrorists. They have the Constitution to protect them to do whatever the hell they feel like doing, saying whatever they want to say, destroying anybody they want to destroy. And they say, well, this is all falls under the guise of free press. I'm sorry, I don't think so. Not without consequence. If you think
we've gone through this before in our past. We've had media outlets that just reported whatever they wanted, the yellow journalism, if you remember that back in the day. So it's kind of like, okay, but this is the modern equivalent of it, and it's just people have had enough. People have had enough, and this crap where everybody that gets on that television is an expert at something, and it's like you're an expert at nothing. You speak as if you speak for the entire population of the United States of America, and you don't. You don't have, or even a large portion of the population of the United States of America. And these people are just dishonest. It's just unbelievable. And I don't care what channel you're watching anymore. You cannot go and get your quote unquote news from one place anymore. Period. You can't do it. In fact, you might not even be able to do it and stay within the bounds of the continental United States.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know about you, but I know that I have begun to look more at international news sources than I do our own, because there is a little bit more objectivity. Sure, there's a lot of bias out there, because a lot of especially in the European theater, there's a lot of socialist type organizations out there. The governments are very socialistic, democratic socialism and nationalism and everything else. But at least when it comes to writing about the United States, there's some pretty objective takes out there on what's going on over here. I happen to like the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, although, I've seen some stuff out there that's bad, but I've also seen more honesty out of them than you do here in a lot of regards. But I just think, this whole idea that the media just thinks the First Amendment gives them free license to do and say whatever they wish and be able to say, well, we're protected under the First Amendment. I'm sorry. Then if that's the case, then that means the rest of America, has no right to say anything about what it is you're reporting. And so now we do have a state-run media.
Yeah, and that's the reason they were all upset against Trump at his press conference the other day with Netanyahu, because he didn't pick on the state elitist media personnel that were sitting up there. He went to other people that wanted to ask a question, so they got to drive a narrative for a change. They didn't like that.
And one thing I'm quickly learning about Donald Trump, he is a ringmaster. I don't think for a moment that this guy does not know what he's doing. Again, he's not the most eloquent speaker, and I think sometimes he stumbles over his own words. as we saw in the press conference or in the rally the other day about making remarks about Sweden and the electoral victory and stuff, which was wrong and correct. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't know what he's doing. We got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
Red State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth, and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-380-2906. That's 800-380-2906. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-380-2906.
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Am I not speaking English?
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American.
All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. Hey, let's get into the Wild West show that took place last night or yesterday on the talk news circuit. In particular, Chris Wallace's Sunday show. I don't normally, as a habit, listen to these things on the weekend. I might catch bits and pieces of them if I'm dressing for church or something. I'll watch, what I can see during that time. I make even less of a habit of giving them any airtime here on the show, other than to maybe reference them within some particular dialogue that's taking place during the show. But I thought yesterday's show was worthy of spending some time talking about, only because of the fact that it seems like the theme of the entire show was the fake news story, the fake news illusion being perpetrated by Donald Trump. And Chris Wallace was in high gear yesterday, very out of character with him yesterday.
No. If you've watched it before, he did the same thing to Kellyanne Conway a couple weeks ago.
Oh, what I mean, he has. How do I say it? He has taken off his mask since Donald Trump actually announced his run for the presidency a year ago. His persona, in my opinion, has changed. He's kind of revealed who he really is. He's always kind of tried to present himself as some kind of, neutral, non-partial, calm, collected kind of guy. But ever since Donald Trump announced his presidency, he has evolved more and more into a leftist fanatic along the lines of maybe Don Lemon or even Trevor Noah, maybe even Jon Stewart. Maybe that's where he's going to end up at. And the same,
he's really gone off the rails since Donald Trump decided to do the fake news narrative, which should be the dishonest media narrative instead of fake news. But I get what he's saying. Fake, it's not real. I get that. But
yeah.
Wallace has gone off the rails because I think it's like when you have a cavity or something or a bad tooth and you always hit that one nerve and it just really sends pain down your spine. I think this is what this is for Chris Wallace.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of the sweet tooth thing. It's when the sweet tooth starts getting irritated by everything rather than just candy. You just can't avoid it anymore, and you lay there asleep at night and it's aching, and you wake up in the morning and it's aching. He definitely off the rails is a very good, adjective to describe the way he's been acting lately. And like I said, maybe he's just channeling Megyn Kelly now that she's gone. Which, by the way, how come we haven't heard anything about Megyn Kelly on this?
Maybe
I wonder
because
why.
No one cares.
I wonder why. Could it be that she's at NBC, the station that nobody listens to?
Or nobody cares. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Even when she was at Fox, I no longer cared. So what? Her going to another network doesn't mean I'm going to follow her. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I do. I don't do the boycott thing. I just don't turn stuff on.
I know. I have a hard time when people say we're going to boycott this. I'm like, well, I never listened to it anyway, so it's like, I can't. I so much want to be part of your movement. I had all these people send me stuff. We need to boycott Macy's and Nordstrom's. I'm like, I'd love to participate if I could afford to shop at Macy's and Nordstrom.
Whatever. Yeah, and maybe Wallace will be really channeling up Megyn Kelly because the next time we see him, he'll be in a dress. Probably a strap, little number, narrow strap number with the back missing. Yeah. maybe that's what we'll see. Anyway, let's get to the clips then.
Yeah, let's get to the clips. We're going to play some clips for you here. And Wallace came out just firing both barrels when he came out here. And the first interview that he did with Reince Priebus. Now, I'm going to say this. I happen to think that Reince Priebus was the wrong choice for chief of staff. I think he's in over his head, or either that, or he's not the right guy for the job. I'm not going to go beyond that. Okay, I just don't think he was the right guy for the job. You got a guy who's been running Walking Point for the establishment for several years now, and he's going to be the head of the revolution. I don't think so. Anyway, so he has on Reince Priebus, and we're going to start out the clip number one that Joe's got queued up here. Is Wallace is getting into here, starting to talk about the idea that he's upset with the fact that Trump has referred to him as the media as fake news and the enemy of the American people. That's what set everything off here, the enemy of the American people. So go ahead and play that clip for us, Joe.
Here you go.
Here's the problem, Chris. The problem is that you're right. Some of these things were covered, but you get about 10% coverage on the fact you did a very successful meeting with Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of the UK, the Prime Minister of Canada.
We covered all of those news conferences live. Everybody did.
Right, sure. Yeah, right. But then as soon as it was over, the next 20 hours is all about Russian spies.
But you don't get to tell us what to do,
how
right?
Nothing's happening.
You don't get to tell us what to do any more than Barack Obama did. Barack Obama whined about Fox News all the time, but I got to say, he never said that we were an enemy of the people.
Let me tell you something. He said a lot of things about Fox News, Chris. I think you ought to go check the tape. He blamed you for a lot of things, and I'm surprised as someone from Fox that you would forget all the shots.
No, he took the shots, and we didn't like him. And frankly, we don't like this either, because, but he never went as far as President Trump has. And that's what's concerning, because it seems like he crosses a line when he talks about that we're an enemy of the people. That is concerning.
I think you should be concerned. I think you should be concerned about mainstream news outlets that are acting like, Washington Daily gossip magazines instead of the way it used to be, where you would get a few sources on the record. Yeah, you'll need some background, and maybe, yes, you'll need some anonymous sources, but to accuse an organization of being in constant contact with Russian spies is outrageous. And every day it's something different. It's some other source that is absolutely untrue.
So that's the exchange, one of the initial exchanges between Reince Priebus and Chris Wallace regarding Chris Wallace is following the narrative that Trump is claiming that the media is the enemy of the American people, and Reince Priebus is basically saying, well, you're not telling the truth. You're not being honest. You actually don't even have any sources for what you're saying. You guys are just alluding to innuendo and speculation and accusations, and you're calling it news, and you're calling them facts, and you don't even have sources lined up for these things. And Wallace is just stuck in that recording mode. Yeah, but you're calling us the enemy of the American people. Well, your thoughts, Joe?
Well, I'll just leave it up. Look, this is the kind of things that happens, and they've got plenty. Chris Wallace has plenty of supporters. He has plenty of people on his side. Here, let me play this for you. This is Chuck Todd and wonderful John McCain. And here's and check what McCain has to say about this. This is from a United States senator, no less.
I'm curious of your reaction to a tweet that the president sent Friday night. The fake news media, failing New York Times, NBC News, ABC, CBS, CNN, is not my enemy. It is the enemy of the American people. You believe the press is the enemy? Do you believe any group of Americans are the enemy of another group of Americans?
I was talking about the period, as you know, of the New World Order. A fundamental part of that New World Order was a free press. I hate the press. I hate you especially. But the fact is, we need you. We need a free press. We must have it. It's vital. If you want to preserve, I'm very serious now, if you want to preserve democracy as we know it, you have to have a free and many times adversarial press. And without it, I'm afraid that we would lose so much of our individual liberties over time. That's how dictators get started.
That's how dictators get started, with tweets like that?
They get started by suppressing a free press. In other words, in consolidation of power, when you look at history, the first thing that dictators do is shut down the press. And I'm not saying that President Trump is trying to be a dictator. I'm just saying we need to learn the lessons of history.
Senator McCain, I'm going to leave it there. You are a student of history, that's for sure.
Yeah, he might be a student of history, but he's a dumbass all the way around. I'm sorry, Senator McCain. Yeah, we need a free and honest press is what we need in this nation. That's what we need in our republic. That's exactly what we need, not this adversary. We could have an adversarial press if they're honest about it, if they're straight up honest with it. But no, they're not. They're disingenuous at best.
Yeah, a free press does not mean free to do whatever you wish without accountability or consequences when you get it wrong. That's a liberal mentality. That's a liberal thought, that we should be able to do whatever we wish to do without any consequence, without any accountability, without being responsible for what we're doing. We'll do it under the guise of public service, and we'll use the First Amendment as our shield, our badge of honor, as it were. But don't hold us accountable to anything. We are above that. We're not accountable for what we say, while we're trying to hold everybody else accountable for what they say. We try to hold the government accountable for what they're doing. Yeah. Meanwhile, so John McCain just ups the ante just right there. So now the liberal media is going to run with this and say, now Donald Trump, the start of the American dictatorship. He's going to go ahead and put the clamps on America's free press. Thank you, Senator John McCain, for throwing that out there. Congratulations. Now retire, please. You've done enough damage to our republic. Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, we got to go to a break here. When we get back, we'll get it. We got some more clips here for you. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. The ConservativeSyndicate.net, the adult in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring. And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
All right, hey, we're back, and this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. We're glad you're with us today, and we're wading through the swamp known as the DC media cesspool. and trying to clear out some issues here or clarify the facts here. Chris Wallace just in high gear yesterday, and every one of the people he interviewed yesterday. We're going to get into Rush Limbaugh in just a few moments here, but everybody he interviewed, the main thing somewhere in the conversation, he brought up this idea of the media being labeled by Donald Trump as an enemy of the American people. And the illusion, of course, is that I think earlier on in the conversation, if I remember right, Chris Wallace made the statement. He says, we're not I guess when he opened the show, he's talking with Priebus, and he says the fake news media, and he's referring to Donald Trump, the failing New York Times, NBC News, ABC, CBS, CNN, is not my enemy. It is the enemy of the American people. Rince, the president, believes that a free and independent press is a threat to the country. And Reba's saying, no, that's not what he was saying. What he's saying is that you're honest. You're not honest about what's going on anymore. And Wallace followed that up with the fact that, well, we're not a state-run media outlet. And I'm thinking, my response would have been, yes, you are. Yes, you are. You and every other one like you are state-run because you get your marching orders from those people who have ties to the establishment. The left, obviously, more obvious. They have Media Matters out there, George Soros-funded operation, and then basically they all get the same talking points, and all these things are disseminated amongst all the operatives that go on these talk shows and everything. Fox News doesn't have access to Media Matters, but hey, they're, what's his name, Murdoch? Is he still running that operation, Joe? I don't even know.
I don't know. He doesn't report to me, so I haven't found out for quite a while. But
Yeah. Well, anyway, the people that head up.
Rupert's doing what Rupert does, so he can go ahead and do whatever he's going to do. We're going to still have the media that we have, and maybe we'll hear some more from Jonathan since he's going to, he's done it with all the conservatives, quote unquote, air fingers quotes. They're at CPAC, here the second hour of the show. Yeah,
we'll see what's going on there. So anyway, then it went on, and they went back and forth about it. Wallace trying to beat the dead horse that it's not about whether we're accurate or not. It's about the right that we have the First Amendment that protects us being inaccurate. Okay, that's basically what he was saying. He even alluded that with Rebus. He said, sometimes we get it wrong, sometimes you get it wrong. Well, that's fine. Why don't you own up to it when you get it wrong? See, when we get it wrong, yeah, you're out there. You're running front and center. When you get it wrong, you try to cover it up or you try to justify it and try to rationalize it. And when somebody like a Donald Trump gets up there with his own little way of saying things, all of a sudden, oh, my God, we're under attack. The First Amendment's under attack. The Constitution is under attack. Democracy is under attack. So what? So what? There's been ongoing press battles for centuries. I think Thomas Jefferson was the first one that alluded to the fact that the media should not exist. And so what, are you going to attack him too? That kind of thing. Anyway, let's get on. Let's move on here a little bit here because I get to my favorite part of the interview here that took place. Chris Wallace had on Rush Limbaugh, somewhat of a rarity in that Rush doesn't normally go on other shows, especially news media outlets like Fox News or CNN. He has, but he doesn't do. It's not a habit of his. And he was on Chris Wallace's show yesterday. And I want to start at the very beginning. I think Joe's got a clip set up here. And this was the very opening salvo of the interview between Chris Wallace and Rush Limbaugh. So go ahead, Joe, whenever you're ready.
You say that what's happening to Donald Trump right now is that the left-wing courts, the left-wing media, the left-wing bureaucracy are trying to, in your words, sabotage his presidency. Sabotage?
Well, actually, I do. And it's driven by two things, actually. The first thing that's going on, Chris, in my view, it is preposterous to believe that the Russians had any effect on the outcome of voting in this country. It's absurd. There is no evidence. Zilch. Zero. Nada. The New York Times has run two stories that are basically propaganda on this, one in October and one this past week. And both stories clearly say no evidence. Nobody they've talked to has any evidence whatsoever to suggest it. The second thing I think that's important for people to remember, people that voted for Donald Trump, people that support Donald Trump, really, really believe that they were going to lose the country if Hillary Clinton won. This is not an idle thought. It's not an exaggeration. They really believe that the country as founded was up for grabs. It was over if Hillary had won, if the Democrats had another 4 or 8 years to do what they do with the judiciary and so forth. So those two things, and I think if you try to understand both of those, not you personally, but people have a much greater ability to understand Trump and his supporters if you can intellectually accept those two premises.
If you can accept those intellectually, if you can accept intellectually those two premises, something liberals shy away from, unless it fits their pseudo-intellectual premises. And, of course, the media just seems to ignore in the interest of, I don't know if, I don't know. Sometimes I think, Joe, that these guys just do this, that it really just, does it all just boil down to ratings and revenue? Or is it?
Absolutely. They're just ratings whores, period.
I mean, how much of what the media does now is really tied to actually advancing a narrative compared to trying to get the ratings, the people to watch their shows for revenue purposes?
Yeah, I mean, why do you think they're upset about not getting their questions asked at a news conference? Because they can't get a byline. They can't. Everybody else would have to go ahead, according to Fox News or according to NBC News or according to ABC News. We have to write. So everybody else in the room has to write about what they did, and so they get. Oh, look, we were the great ones. Now they're upset about that because Trump ain't playing that game. Nor should he play that game. They're being dishonest. These are the same people who call him Hitler.
That's. I don't. It's paradoxical to me. It's kind of a paradox that we're sitting here listening to the media, who anybody with the IQ of seaweed knows that the media is being run by establishment elites on both sides of the aisle. This isn't just exclusive to liberals. This is both sides of the aisle. Okay, the globalists are running the media.
Yeah,
everybody knows this.
Look what John McCain just did on the other Sunday talk show. Yeah, on the NBC talk show with Chuck Todd. He basically said Donald Trump's trying to be a dictator.
Yeah, and the whole idea that globalists are not into tyranny in and of itself is a lie. But the whole idea here is that I'm sitting here and I try to wrap my head about how audaciously ignorant do you have to be able to sit there. I mean, you know what? Let me put it this way. I was envisioning, as I'm listening to Chris Wallace try to defend the media in their ascent or their descent into the cesspool of elitism. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking, this reminds me of Obama, who could read off a teleprompter, look at the public in the face, and lie outright, do it with a straight face, and people would believe him. And I'm sitting here going, with the media, of course, we know that the argument is being made by them to protect their credibility. That in and of itself, media people don't know that they don't have any credibility. I mean, why don't they read some of the polls that they report that the media is ranked lower than attorneys, for crying out loud? Single-digit approval rates, second only to Congress. I'm like, Jesus Christ. We got to go to a break here. We're at the top of the hour here. Edward's Notebook, Pay Some Bills. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
It has been said that 'tis the season to be jolly, but someone should tell that to the Walmart Grinch in Medina, Ohio. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, it used to be that the world was a nicer place during the Christmas season, but the negative anti-Christmas attitude of PC progressivism has permeated almost every segment of society, including the warped minds of certain department store managers, like the one at the Medina, Ohio Walmart outside of Cleveland. The Walmart Grinch forced 2 U.S. Marines to stand outside in the cold, whether rain or shine, because suddenly it was concluded that the policy would not allow them to remain inside to collect toys for tots, which raises money for Christmas gifts for children. The corporate bigwigs at Walmart are looking into it. This is a cut and dry case of a know-it-all, bigoted progressive seeking to disrupt or stop what has been allowed for many years simply to raise money and collect toys for tots. Such bigoted behavior should not be tolerated one bit. For those who don't like Christmas, you have a right to your opinion, but you don't have a right to muck it up for the rest of us who appreciate Christmas and the Marines who seek to help bring about joy for American children who might otherwise not receive a gift for Christmas. I'm Ron Edwards.
Since its founding, America has always been admired and envied throughout the world for its system of government, one that empowers its citizens to seek their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No other country or nation in history has benefited from its diversity simply due to the opportunities available to anyone from anywhere. But there have been and are those who envy our freedom for a very different reason. And today we find ourselves as never before being threatened by this formidable foe intent on our destruction. For this reason, Act for America exists. Act for America is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots national security organization with over 300,000 members and 1,000 chapters focused on educating, engaging, and mobilizing citizens and elected officials to impact legislative outcomes to protect America against terrorism both here and abroad. As a result, our network has driven the education process toward the successful passage of 43 bills in 22 states. We continue to expand our nationwide volunteer chapter network, training citizens to recognize and help prevent criminal activity and terrorism in the United States while preserving the civil liberties protected by the United States Constitution. To find out more, check us out at actforamerica.org. That's actforamerica.org.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet,
Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, we're back. Hour two right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. You know, we got a short segment here. This is our short segment, and we're going to be bringing Jonathan Dunn on. And I thought we'd open up the second hour here with something I have not seen in my lifetime. It may have occurred before, but not. I don't remember ever seeing it. We're going to do this. It's about 3-4 minutes long here. A clip, Melania Trump at the rally on Sunday reading the Lord's Prayer. And I mean, when have we ever heard the Lord's First Lady do this from either side, or any president for that matter, perhaps at some point in time. But if you got that clip queued up, Joe, let's do that, and then we'll go to commercial. We'll bring on Jonathan Dunn.
Hey, here we go.
Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespasses against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Well, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, you know, not since we've had this sort of media. We haven't had anything like this. This hasn't happened. This didn't happen in the 20th century. I certainly know it didn't happen in, well, it might have happened in the 19th century, but we wouldn't have never known about it.
Yeah. Well, I just thought, and I got to be honest with you, the accent made the whole thing for me. Anyway. Well, let's do this. Let's get our break taken care of here, and hopefully when we get back, we'll have Jonathan Dunn calling in from CPAC out there in Washington, D.C. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Middle America doesn't have an anger problem. It's got an idiot problem. The Conservative Syndicate, doing our part to eradicate the disease of idiocracy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment, and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers! If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Am I not speaking English?
TheConservativeSyndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right. Hey, we're back. And you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. We want to encourage you to visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. And we have with us right now
out there, the happy wanderer, man traveling all over the world, Jonathan Dunn, and we've got happened to land him today. I assume we're still hearing you from CPAC out of Washington. Am I correct, John?
Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, I'm in here in the beautiful city of Washington, D.C., and what a joy it is to be in Washington, let me tell you. How are you this evening?
So what can you tell us so far about what you've seen out there at CPAC?
Well, CPAC doesn't start till Wednesday, so I just arrived early. I've got some business meetings to do and catch up with some friends in D.C., and then CPAC starts on Wednesday, boot camp for activists, which is always a good thing, I've been told. And then Thursday, the actual conference kicks off. And I'm here we're with Lanterns, which is the company I'm head of radio of, and where we broadcast all your shows every day on lanterns.buzz. We're doing 27 hours of live radio. We're going to give you the best coverage of principles and of truth. And we're actually going to do what media companies should be doing, and we're going to show the way.
And you're going to start this on Wednesday, Jonathan?
Wednesday starts Wednesday, the activist boot camp, but then the actual speakers and the actual conference itself starts Thursday morning.
Yes.
Thursday morning, Friday, and then Saturday.
Yeah. And I just seen over the news wires that Milo has been taken off the agenda there.
Yes, so Milo has caused a bit of a few controversies. People are very familiar with him. He's Marmite. You either like him or hate him. And he obviously got a speaking slot, which was interesting. And then comments came out, videos released of he made some interesting, I suppose is the best way to say it, comments about young boys and young people and older people engaging in certain activities, and they've disinvited him. So that's been the big news. So it's going to be an interesting week, and I'm pumped to be here. And the one thing I pride myself on with Lanterns is that we're going to give you no spin. I'm not here. I didn't travel 6,000 miles to Washington, D.C. to be here for a week at my own expense to give you a spin, positive CPAC or positive Republican Party. With us, you're going to get the truth, but you're also going to get it in a pro-American way, a pro-American exceptional way, a pro-why America is an idea. And we're going to talk a lot about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. So things your founding fathers would have agreed with and common principles that America has always traditionally stood for. And we're going to be that voice. We're going to illuminate the truth the best way we can.
So you're just going to be in pursuit of some liberty there, I take it then. I think that's what you're trying to tell me.
Absolutely. I'm going to do everything, anything I do when, whether I'm get the honor to join you gentlemen on radio or any other interviews I do or my own show on The Blaze, I'm here to tell you why your country's exceptional, why people like me have had a lifelong dream to get over there. And to see, to me, you're still that shining city on a hill. You've got major obstacles facing you right now, and I don't sugarcoat it. But I still see you as that shining city on a hill, and I'm here not to make people feel bad or not to hurt people's feelings, but I'm here to encourage you, because your nation has done so much for the world, and you've inspired me so many times that it's payback time. And you're hurting right now, and it's time for people like me to step up and say, you've inspired me for 200 plus years, it's time for me to inspire you. Be the country you can be.
I think it's going to be a very interesting CPAC this time, since, they've come out. We might be coming out of the wilderness we've had for the past, 16 years. So it might be a different kind of scene going on there. It might be very, very interesting, and you might have a lot of work to do.
Well, we've got a lot of work to do. I say 27 hours of live coverage is not easy over 3+ days. So there's a lot of, and in radio, it's not just turning up. We've been planning this for many weeks, and we're doing, myself, Chris Pilier and Crystal McCann, we're the senior people at Lanterns. We're putting in hours all around the clocks, trying to get guests, trying to do the research behind the speeches, trying to give the principles, trying to lay out radio. A lot of, as a lot of radio, probably the actual show you do is probably 5% of the actual work you do. 95% no one ever sees, the research, the reading speeches, reading comments you don't particularly want to hear, going into philosophy. So that's what we've been doing, and we're determined to give us the best possible coverage as we can.
Well, I think John has something to ask you here, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan, I want to get your take on this. I'm sure you know by now, and I'm sure you've known for quite a while, the big epidemic we have right now is the quote unquote fake news crap that's going around all over the place. And Joe had mentioned earlier, just as we started the interview with you, the removal of Milo Yiannopoulos, is that how we say it? Yiannopoulos, as the keynote speaker.
Something like that.
Yeah, as its keynote speaker there. And I've got to tell you, I'm a little bit saddened by this. I'm trying to figure this guy out. I sit there and I try to reconcile the fact that we've got a guy that's, by his own admission, a screaming homosexual, and he's espousing very conservative ideals. And I've been kind of watching him because he's based out here about 20 minutes away from where I live out here in California. And I've been paying attention to him because I find him to be a rather unique and perplexing individual, how he reconciles his values with his lifestyle. But aside from that, the fact that it seems like he really went out of his way to address this situation about being a pedophile or at least condoning it. But it seems like that perhaps the people over there at CPAC are a little bit worried about some type of narrative being created about the Republican Party or conservatives being someone who condones being a pedophile, that kind of thing. I'm just kind of wondering, there's kind of a pro and con about having somebody like this out there, but it seems to me it's just kind of sad because he does speak and articulate conservative ideals pretty well, don't you think?
I actually have to disagree with that statement. I'm not a fan. For me, Milo is no conservative anyway, shape, sense, or form. If you actually listen to his words, to me, it screams European rights. He espouses European right-wing politics, absolutely. But European right politics is very different to American right politics. And that's a clear distinction. I very rarely hear Milo talk about the Constitution. I very rarely hear him talk about the Declaration of Independence. I don't think I have ever heard Milo say the words "America is an idea, not a country." Also, when you look at some of his comments, which are not just, let's forget the pedophilia comments, because that's just the latest thing. My objections to people like Milo have been longer than today. When you have someone saying we live in a post-fact era and that's a good thing, I don't think that's positive. And you think when you have people like him and a lot of senior people at Breitbart who are embracing the alt-right, which to me is European-style socialism, I don't agree with it. And for me, America is an idea, and it's based around the sovereignty of the individual, not the sovereignty of the government. And on that one, we will have to agree and to disagree. And I don't mind. I don't care whether he speaks or not. But I personally wouldn't have called him a conservative in any way. The way I see conservatism from a distance.
Okay, and so that kind of leads into what I'm feeling here to a certain degree, because like I said, I find the guy rather perplexing, a contradiction in terms in many ways, but yet apparently he's duped enough quote unquote conservatives to be asked to speak as a keynote speaker. I mean, that's not something that's given away lightly. So, do you think that maybe?
Well, I don't think he was ever given the keynote. I think that was that. I'm not sure where you got your source from. That the rumors I heard was, that was a political article. From what I heard, and even on the CPAC and Matt Schlapp's personal Twitter account, he was never announced as the keynote speaker. He was announced as a speaker. I'm not sure. Maybe I could be wrong on that now, but any coverage I've seen, I've never seen him as the keynote. I heard the rumors of it, but Michael Reagan is now the keynote speaker.
Oh, okay, because that's the way it was reported in the news today, that he was. Yeah. But they define a keynote speaker as somebody given the most time to speak. So it could be
right.
It could be that type of definition here. But the fact that he apparently has duped a lot of people in the conservative community to think that he is representative of conservative views. I think that in and of itself, does that not speak to the bigger issue of the fact that many who claim the conservative mental just really don't know what it means to be a conservative?
I think the one of the biggest issues in America on the right faces is what you actually stand for. I've seen people like John McCain being called conservative. And if John McCain's a conservative, I'm definitely not a conservative. I've heard people all my life heard John Boehner is a conservative guy. If that's a definition of conservatism, then we clearly have a very basic difference of conservatism. Well, conservative stands, even if you look in the House today, let's just talk today's politics. I've been following your politics for 16 years. What's actually conservative has changed drastically. I remember fighting the battles under George Bush, where we were the evil conservatives who actually wanted to cut the government. What you have today is conservatives who go, let's take Obamacare. Obamacare, one of the discussions in the House, I believe, if not in the Senate, I'm really sure it's in the House, is getting the Obamacare tax back to 2010. And that's the evil conservative position. We don't ever talk about cutting government. When was the last time you heard a conservative make a cogent argument about, I don't know, cutting any of the alphabet soup, the IRS? If you want to get a tagline or around elections, they talk about it, but it's never in actual Congress. You look at the Republicans have said since 2010, Obamacare got passed. John Boehner, only 1/2 of 1/3, we can only do things. We need the Senate. Well, in 2014, you got the Senate. Mitch McConnell comes out going, what the American people want us to do is to show them we can govern. We got to get the presidency. Well, now you got the presidency, the White House, the Congress, and Obamacare is still in there. And they're now debating about selling out the American people. Conservatism has changed. And what I think we need to do, and what I try and do, I don't try and get involved in your politics. I'm not here to say who's good or bad or who's right or wrong. I'm here to give you the idea of America, the idea that the individual is sovereign, the idea that you can do anything you want and that no one has the right to tell you otherwise. That is conservatism to me, is limited government. I remember back even in the old days, remember the old debate we used to have as conservatives? Are you for a flat tax? No, I'm for a fair tax. Well, I'm for a flat tax. Let's debate it. What do we debate now as conservatives? How can we get a tax cut? Not whether it's flat or fair, but how can we just reduce some taxes? And that's the evil conservative position. So I think as a group of conservatives, we need to re-understand what it is to be conservatism and start putting those views forward and doing them in a positive way. Because when you talk about conservatism, the big thing that's missing from conservatism today is the hope, is the empowerment. When I see politicians who are angry all the time, to me that's a key tenet of not being conservative. Conservatives are loving people. They're empowering you to say, hey, look, you can do anything you want. In America, there is no glass ceiling. In America, there's so many rags to riches stories that we used to mock people in Europe. Ever Lazarus, give me your tired, your weak, and your little masses. That is conservatism. Today it's, I don't know, can we get a 2% tax cut? Can we reduce Obamacare taxes back to 2010? I think that has to change, and I hope CPAC has had a very interesting position for 30 years. It's fought, whether it's Republican, whether it's been Reaganite, whether it's been something else. I hope you put forward a set of values that says this is what real conservatism is and get back to principles.
You're hitting the nail on the head here, because this is one of the things that we've been contending for quite a while. To me, if we're going to talk about this whole concept and idea of fake news, made up news, probably one of the biggest stories is the fact that the term conservative is so interchangeable now. The media uses it when it supports their narrative one way or the other. As you said earlier, John McCain gets labeled a conservative when he's tearing down Donald Trump, because that kind of gives the picture that Donald Trump is off the charts here or whatever, and he's not really representative of government. You have Mitch McConnell out there the other day saying that Donald Trump is basically Mitt Romney or John McCain with a Twitter account, meaning that they would govern the same way. That's not even close to being true. And he goes on to his little conservative rant that he comes out every time he tries to play the part. So I think the big challenge we have as conservatives is re-educating the entire nation as to what it really stands for and what it means. And I think a lot of times we have to start with the very base of conservatives. A lot of them just don't know. It's kind of like Christianity. There's so many pseudo-Christians in America today that have not even a clue about what they're supposed to be and what a Christian actually looks, walks, and talks like. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. And I think that's the biggest thing we have to do. And I think that, for me, the biggest thing on both of those topics, for being a conservative and being a Christian, is we've got to do it in the best way possible. How do you get things done? Do you get things done by being evil and cruel and nasty? Do you get things done by being a loving Christian and doing things the right way? And that's something I always try and do. You know, I'm blessed in the situation I am. I've got friends on all sides of the aisle. I don't agree with my left friends on pretty much any issue, but we agree to disagree. We've got that mutual respect. But the idea of that we should tear each other down, that is the one thing I've seen over here, and I'm seeing a lot, is we're told we're buying into labels, and we're buying into, if you dare have a different opinion to me, I have to hate you. And I really I'm struggling to see that, because that's not the America I know. You know, in many ways, I see some of my friends on the right become everything the left has painted them as. You know, I'm blessed. If anybody ever listens to my show, I finish my show the exact same way each and every day, and it's for a reason. Because if you don't hear anything I say, any of the discussions, any of the principles I say, I always want you to hear one thing. It's the Tocqueville. America is great because Americans are good. About all the things I will defend about America, the country, not the idea, but the country, it's that your people are fundamentally good, decent people. You know, I've always said this. 9/11 was one of the worst days in your nation's history. It was a tragic, tragic, tragic day. But 9/12 was one of the greatest days. That was the time for me as getting involved in American, because I was still a young adult at that time, was when I saw that raw patriotism, when I saw the flags, when I saw the pictures of people in New York City just hugging and embracing each other. That is the America I love, the country that you're good people. When I see today, I see people buying into all these labels and going, well, you're not conservative enough, I have to hate you. Or I'm like, you know, if you dare have my opinion on Milo, you know, okay, you don't agree with me, I have no problem with that. If you want Milo at CPAC, I will defend your right to have that. But I don't have to hate you. Yeah. And I really think we need to get past these labels and be fundamentally good people, because that is your history. That is the history. And then your charity. You know, it's sad that every time, and America proves this every time, whether it's domestically or overseas.
Jonathan, don't mean to interrupt, but we're long here. We got to take a break, brother. So just hold the thought on the charity and everything else, and then we'll be back to it with you when we come back from the break. All right?
No problem.
All right, thanks, Dan. Okay, Joe Hakos with John Matthews and Jonathan Dunn here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back after the messages.
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth, and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a four-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-380-2906. That's 800-380-2906. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-380-2906.
And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Joe Hayco's here on the Conservative Syndicate. Please go to our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. You can catch everything out and all our contributors, including Jonathan Dunn, who we have on the line here, sitting over in the D.C. bubble. He's getting ready to go ahead and burst it when he gets to CPAC here at the end of the week. With 27 crazy hours of coverage. I can't believe you're going to try to do that in 3 days. That's a lot of work, Jonathan. I admire you for even attempting it. But sorry to interrupt you before there, brother, but we had to go to the break. And so you were talking American exceptionalism, and I hated to cut you off on that. So please continue.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry, I do tend to go over on time. It's one of my struggles, and I'm head of radio, so I'm a good mix, right? But on charity, absolutely. Anytime, the one thing that always amazes me about your country is no matter how hatred you have, even these labels where you have people at each other's throats now, where the right hates the left and the left hates the right, and there's these big divisions. But what happens is every time domestically or overseas, you step up to the plate, and it's incredible. And I wish Americans could get to this point, and they acted like this every day, where there's an overseas disaster, a tsunami, an earthquake. The Italian earthquakes that happened, remember that horrible place in Italy where it had 3 major, horrible, horrific earthquakes in 5 or 6 days. Who stepped up to the plate? Americans sent so much money over there. Look at the tsunami in Japan. Everyone stepped up to the plate. Domestically, all these, whether it's for breast cancer, whether it's for homeless, Americans statistically are, and they're number 2, but they're really number 1 because of all the time and the money and context. Miramar is number 1, but you historically have been number 1 in time and money and generosity. That is the country, that the people that I love, and that is who I spend as much time overseas saying, you're so wrong about Americans. They're loud and they're arrogant and they're just all these horrible people. No, they're not. The stats don't back that up. They are wonderful, wonderful people. They've changed the world. Then through innovation, through free markets. I was taught, my boss Glenn Beck had a great serial on healthcare this week, and he said 56% of drugs in the whole world are created and innovated in America. Through that innovation, it is a great book, The 5,000-Year Leap. There's a reason if you go from 0 to AD, the time of Christ, to 1800, where there was no very little advancement. People still traveled the same way, still people used the same tools on farms. And then in the last 200 years, we've gone from that to, you've gone to the moon, you've explored the swamps, you've created innovation, you live longer, you're healthier. I was just sharing this story the other day. One of my friends back in Ireland, he's approaching his 60th birthday. He has Down syndromes. 20 years ago, when I was a teenager, if he lived till 30, 40, it would have been, that's a long life. He's attending his 60th birthday soon. That is true medical innovation. That is not fully 100%, but a large part due to America. You have the best healthcare system in the world. You've attributed so much. I say this all the time. 8 years ago, when Obama was inaugurated, I couldn't do for Lanterns and with the Blaze what I do today. I can do it. Why? Because of the profit motive, because of free markets, because of the spirit, the capitalism saying, I have a product, I think this might work. Skype, this idea where, we can transfer files to Up in the Sky Dropbox, where I can record shows like Audacity and then upload them and put them onto the Blaze, where I can access all this information on the internet. That all happened in large part due to the American people. That is your people, and that is your history, and that is what we need to share with people. That goodness. And I wish Americans would get back to that goodness on an everyday basis, because this hate, honestly, and I know people don't like me saying this, but I have to give you the truth. That's my job. You are turning very rapidly into Europe, the way you see things, in that you hate other people. And this political side, I grew up in it. In Ireland, it's called civil war politics. If you were in a Fianna Fáil family and you go to the other party, you're hated, you're despised, you're an outcast. Even though they both agree on the same principles and deals, it's just there's a long history which I won't bore you with. But this hatred, where we judge on a label. Who did you vote for last election? Oh, I voted for Fianna Gael. Oh, you're a monster. You're an evil person. I hate you. I'll unfriend you. And I'm seeing this in America, and I kind of go, this is not fundamental. This is not the America I love. This is not the America I know. The American people are great. That is what makes America great. Your people. And I hope I don't want anyone feeling bad by hearing this. I want people, if they think I have anything to say, just reflect on it and be better people. Because that is the America that has made you an exceptional nation in large part, is your people. And I hope you keep returning to it.
Well, Jonathan, I agree with a lot of what you're saying here. And one thing that I think has become very evident and very obvious is that we as Americans have taken so much for granted. We've taken our freedom and everything that we have for granted. And a lot of what's happened causing the division with our country is that people have now redefined opportunity as entitlement. And we think that we're due everything simply because we're Americans to a lot of degree. But I want to get your take on this. I'm going to give you a little counter narrative back here. Is the fact that America has always been at war with itself. That's from the very foundation of our country. We've always been politically divided along party lines or along ideological lines and theological lines. That's what creates the debate, and that's why we have amendments like the First Amendment, so that we could debate this stuff out in the open and everything. But I do agree with your assessment here that what we have become, we've gone beyond just debating into a type of, I'm going to say that maybe a political genocide, as one side wants to annihilate the other side and obliterate them, eradicate them from the face of the earth. But I do take a little bit of an exception here with your view on the fact that this country is basically always been in a type of civil war with each other. That's actually what drives the country. That's what makes us exceptional, is that we can have this and we can still come together. In instances like you say, there are times where we just, okay, everybody lay down your arms and let's all gather together and be one people. But I don't see America ever, or any country for that matter, being able to come to some place where everything is just peace and joy. That's a utopian concept of liberalism. I don't know that we'll ever be able to achieve that.
I don't think you'll ever achieve the utopia vision, but for me, it's just you've become so divided. You take on social media. I put it up when I was promoting this show that when we talk about the media, I'm going to annoy both sides, and chances are someone will say something and you get unfriended and stuff, and that's what you get in social media. But before, I just think right now you're so partisan that there's no mutual respect. And I see this time and time again with friends, with work that we do together, that there is no, I can agree to disagree with people, but today that doesn't seem to exist. There's always going to be a part where you're going to disagree, because, you look at the philosophical side of left versus right traditionally in America. You have a system, and let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and give them both sides the best intentions in the world. You're ideologically opposed. One believes in government being the moral arbiter of society, and the other side believes in God and your creator being the moral arbiter of society, both acting with the good. But that agree to disagree and to come together and to be decent people. I live beside socialists. I live beside big government people. But that doesn't mean I don't agree with them, but you can still have that respect and that debate and have honest discussions, whereas today I don't see a lot of discussion. I see a lot of, anger from both sides pointing the finger at each other, and honestly, I don't see any principles ever being discussed a lot of the time, and that is something that's very troubling to me. You look at the right, how many times. The left, when is the last time on both sides of the political spectrum in the last 2 months that the Constitution has been mentioned? The left have mentioned, I can't remember the last time I saw major figures on the right talk about the Constitution. The left are currently talking about, oh my God, I'm terrified of executive overreach. The right aren't talking about it anymore. The left are talking about prepping. The right aren't. So what I try and do is executive overreach, forget the people involved, Trump, Obama, let's not talk about people. Is executive overreach a big thing? Absolutely. Does your Congress do more today than your Constitution outlines? Absolutely. Half of what goes on in D.C. is not constitutional because it doesn't fall under enumerated powers. So instead of what I always try and encourage is, okay, if you want to mock the left for the last 8 years, you can do that. Guess what will happen in 8 years? You will become eventually French France, where one side says, we're going to do things, and if we're in power, we're going to do it, and then the other side seeks to get power, and then it does its will on people. Or you can have a conversation, which I'm trying to do, and say, okay, you're worried about enumerated powers. Guess what? I'm worried about them too. Let's take the powers back, first to Congress, and then back to the states. Will I think I'll be successful? I don't know, but that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm encouraging other people to do at Lanterns.
I certainly agree with your concept and ideals in that regard. That we have gone way beyond in this country the concept of agreeing to disagree, and probably because we're at a place in our history very much politically. Like we were when we had an actual civil war over here. It's almost like each side now is just sitting there just saying, okay, it's do or die time. And that has accelerated the conversations and everything else. We've got to go to a break. When we come back, I want to continue this. I really like your train of thought, and I agree with you. It's not that I disagree with you. I'm just trying to interject a little different perspective as to, you tell me that you're on the outside looking in. I'm on the inside looking out, and I'm trying to reconcile those two sides of the discussion here. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adult in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them the potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Am I not speaking English?
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American.
All right, hey, we're back, and this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. Visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. You want to pick up this archive, any of our archives, find out anything you want to know about the people that participate on our panel here and why we do what we do. We've got Jonathan Dunn with us, who is based over in Ireland, but is visiting the States here, attending CPAC back in Washington, D.C. And Jonathan, I got to tell you, I really love how you articulate your views. I don't want you to think that I disagree with what you're saying. I love your articulation. I just think that a lot of people outside of the U.S. looking in and seeing what they're seeing right now really don't understand the depth of the issues right now in terms of where this country is going politically and morally, for that fact. If the left side actually ends up winning this revolution, and that's really what's happening here, they're trying to incite another revolution, we lose all moral compass in this country, and we become just another third world country. That's what can happen here, a very large third world country, which would be very detrimental to the global community. And I really don't know that people on the outside really understand the depth of what's going on here. Now, I do agree that it's gone way beyond the hateful rhetoric and the threats, and now the violence. We're starting to see more and more violence come out of the left in their quote-unquote protests, which are nothing more than riots. But I do think, can you understand where we're coming from that in that view?
No, absolutely. And look, we're friends before we're anything else, and we're brothers in Christ. I don't ever expect anyone to agree with me. I never want that. All I ever want to try and do is challenge you. But I do agree, you have a very bad paradigm on the extremes in America right now. Like, just the amount of people, I don't know if you saw her, Sally Cohn tweeted, I think, late last week, where she had her solution, she put out this big tweet of the solutions to America's problems. Number 2 on her solution list was basically to impeach Trump and Pence. So was his first thing. First of all, you can't do that at one time. If Constitution states you impeach Trump, Pence becomes president. The second thing was a constitutional crisis. There are members on the far left who think a constitutional crisis is, just another thing. It's just another day at the park. The last constitutional crisis that happened in recent history was Egypt. And I don't remember that ending out so well. And on the right you have, and I have friends who say this to me, what we need is a revolution. We need another civil war. I always worry about when I hear that, because first of all, what they say, they never say civil war, they say a revolution most of the time. And the troubling thing for me for that is because everyone thinks your revolution started in July 2nd, 1776. I say your revolution, I could make an argument it started in 1720 at your pulpits. The first shot fired in your revolution was not a bullet. It was a sermon from a pulpit by a priest. The Declaration of Independence, you look at all the great words in there. All men are created equal. That is today. If you imagine a new country formed and said, in our Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal, that today in 2017 is a revolutionary statement, if you actually believe it. Your founders said that 240 years ago. The fact that rights not come from God, not a government, not a king, not a prime minister, not a dictator, is a revolutionary statement. Something most of the world don't even accept. Your founders said it 240 years ago. When I see people on the right or the left thinking about constitutional crises or revolutions, I say, you don't know your history. Because if you think that you can have either one of those, constitutional crisis or a revolution, and come out the other side at the same country or a better country, I would strongly suggest you read your founders. Because your founders said revolution was the last thing. They tried to act in a certain way before they actually fought those bullets. And right now, if you had a revolution or a constitutional crisis, can you tell me that you would better the Constitution? Would you think people would stand for free speech?
No,
in this world,
think better. It'd be even worse than what it is. They don't, I'm sorry, but for the last 8 years, you never heard anything about the Constitution out of the left. Not one bit. You never heard a thing about states' rights or anything else. And now all of a sudden, the other side's in charge. And there were people out there to explain this to them. Just because you're doing this now doesn't make it right. And it's just as wrong now. Yeah. What has to happen is we need to get back to the Constitution, but these people want their power. And until we get these people out of there to where they want power, we need them to become Americans. They take an oath of office, and they just completely ignore it. Every last one of them ignore it. And their word means nothing now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big issue here. Well, we have when I think of the constitutional crisis we have here, it is that the vast majority of the American people out here, the American electorate, are completely ignorant to the very principles that we are founded on. The idea that we can agree to disagree, that we can have debate, and that we do somehow come to a compromise as long as it stays within the context of what the Constitution has established. What we have is we have one side that literally wants to eradicate the Constitution, or at the very least redefine it and rewrite it to mean whatever they want. What they want to do is they want to legislate lawlessness. They want to say, okay, we're all created equal, therefore you have to tolerate everything that I do that's wrong, within the context of what you're just talking about, Jonathan, the idea that we have a natural law, we have unalienable rights endowed by a creator, but those laws and those rights were not given us without consequence, responsibility, and accountability for what we do with them. And so that's what the big fight we have right now is so much that we can sit here on the right and say, look, guys, let's be reasonable here. Let's look at what our Constitution says. Let's look at what our founders meant by what they said. And the left is saying, that means nothing now. That means nothing now. We don't want that anymore. We want this. It's ruled by the mob. We don't want to be a republic anymore. We want to be a democracy ruled by the mob. And that is why we're at this crisis point where it's very hard to remain polite and somewhat polite to the other side, because the other side doesn't want that. They're saying basically we have white professors in our institutions out here calling for the eradication of the white race, because they feel that is the problem with the black race. And, these things go way out beyond normal reasoning, and it's all because it's for the purpose of trying to undermine what we have as a republic. We're not on the right. We're not looking for a revolution here. We're looking for preservation. We want to preserve what we have, not rebuild it and redo it and reform it. We need to keep what we've already got, because that's what makes us exceptional. Does that make sense?
Well, Jonathan's in the middle of it all this week, Jonathan. Yeah. You're over there in the D.C. with all these folks, so you're going to see it all. So you need to let us know exactly how people are going to be able to get to see what you're doing, especially the end of this week. So, because we're coming up towards the end of the show here. So
how do people find you, John? How do people find you, Jonathan?
Absolutely. I just want to throw one other thing out there. If you want to change as a country, you need to stop having these discussions about the mainstream media. If you look at how your country has changed in technology over the last 16, 17 years, everything is going virtual and online. Yet you still talk about mainstream media as if they have this great power. They don't. The future of media is not Fox News. The future of media is not MSNBC and what Chris Matthews has to say, or what Chris Wallace has to say on Fox. That's not the future. The future is online media. The future is companies like The Blaze and HuffPo and different countries where it goes online, whether it's video streaming, whether it's on YouTube, or whether it's people like me and you. And this week we're at CPAC, We're not part of the mainstream media, and we're proudly not part of it, but we're going to give the people the best coverage that we can get, because nothing can stop us now. There's no barriers in media anymore where you need to have a license. We're an online radio station. We're on the internet. If you go to Spreaker.com and look for Lantern's Media Network, if you go to Facebook Live, which would be Facebook Live in 27 hours, you can see my pretty face, which is something everyone wants to see. I think we can all agree on that. We're on Facebook Live for 27 hours. If you go to Lantern's Buzz, if you search for Lanterns on Facebook, you'll find us. That is the new media. So I think we need to start getting away from what Chris Wallace or Chris Matthews or any of the talking heads wants to say on CNN, and understand that that's not the future. That's the past of media. The future is, whether you like them or not, the HuffPo, Breitbart, the Blaze, Lanterns. We are the future. Conservative Syndicate. That is the future online, where you can get it in anything you want at any moment's notice. You can listen to podcasts. You can listen to live radio. You can read great articles. That's the future. So I think if we can get to a point where we stop looking on the past and reflecting on, oh, look at the power they have. You look at all this. Just one last thing. Look at the last election.
All right.
Look at how much money used to be spent on ads. It's now on online ads. That's the future. So if we can stop looking to the past, I think you would change the dynamics of the conversation overnight.
All right. Thank you so much, Jonathan. We look forward to the next time we have you on here. Guys, it's time for us to shut down for the day. Visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. God bless you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.